Okay. And myself is Radhe Verma. I would be your trainer end-to-end for this F5 ASM course. Okay. Now, let's jump for our class. So today would be an introductory class. Okay. I would be describing you a lot of things for sure, which will be helpful even in the interview as well. Okay. There would be a really very good knowledge from the scratch. I would be touching this class. If you have, even if you have any doubt, any questions, feel free to ask. I would be using this whiteboard, okay, throughout our classes. And these notes you will get in the form of PDF after the classes. Also, the class recording will be get uploaded over the portals. And once your formalities are done, you will be the part of the portal and you can access the class recording from there. Likewise for your lab also. Okay. So for lab, probably I would be gonna show you about the lab portal and everything later on in our class. Okay. Currently, let's touch the part introduction to F5. Because you people are really new, I need to talk about from the scratch. So I am starting from the very basic, which is F5. See, whenever people learn about F5, they think it is a load balancer. Okay. But believe me, it's not like that. When we talk about Windows, is the Microsoft, is the Microsoft is only for the Windows? No, there is Microsoft Azure services there, Office 365 services there, and there are a lot of services behind the line. Okay, but people only learn about the Windows. That is the reason whenever they talk about Microsoft, they used to think that okay, it is a Windows thing. Similarly, F5. We are talking about F5, which is the synonym, bit like a synonym for the load balancer from the years, right? But let me tell you, from 1997, maybe it was leading into the load balancer earlier, but nowadays the whole story is changed. Okay, that is a shallow answer. If somebody is saying that okay, it is only the load balancer, no. F5 is a multi-cloud application service. Okay, and a security company committed to bring your digital world in a better way. Okay. So F5 product line and the service line is really so much expanded. Like you have heard about LTM. Even LTM, which is named as Application Delivery Controller, is not only a load balancer, but much more than that. Then you should have heard about intelligent DNS solution where GSLB will come into the picture. Again, a very complete solution in its own, which will take approximately, this solution is also 24 hours to understand the, like, not I would say into the depth, but even if you wanted to have a good knowledge, okay, to gain some good knowledge in LTM, 24 hours are little bit, I would say, sufficient. Then DNS. Then we are here for ASM, which is named as Advanced WAF now. Okay, old name was ASM. Again, it is 20 to 20 plus 24 hours, bit like that. APM solution, right? Again, 20 plus 24 hours, bit like that. Okay, and there are lot of solution into the portfolio of F5 service line. So don't think so it is stopped over here. There are much more. Okay, so F5 is an organization to provide you exceptional secure digital experience for the customer. And really, if we are talking about ASM, probably I will be giving a great introduction about the F5 ASM in upcoming slides. Okay, or maybe in some time, I will say. So ASM, when I'm saying the new name is advanced web, you should be aware the new name is advanced web. Okay, ASM, previously it was named as ASM. And ASM is the security product which was like acquired from a company named as Magnifier Web Systems. Okay, US dollar 29 million. Okay, in back 2004. Okay, so ASM is really a flexible web application firewall. When we used to say WAF means web application fire. Don't worry, I would be touching these all terms in today's class, but I need to start from somewhere. So I am just trying to, build the foundation. Now, big IP ASM, in an overview, if I talk about, it is something to secure your applications. Okay. And throughout, you need to understand when I'm talking about application, I mean to say layer 7 traffic. If you guys are aware, that's good. If not, I am just repeating once. You are aware about OSI or TCP IP model, right? So lower layers, maybe physical, data link, network layer, transport layer, and then upper layer, right? So upper layer, I'm just talking about application. So ASM work over here in the application layer, not on the layer. One thing you need to understand very clear. Application means layer 7 traffic only. Which protocol works? HTTP. But obviously, I would be going to talk about HTTP also in today's class. I will give you an introduction as committed. Okay. And I would be giving you some of the data which is useful for your interview. But let's start from here, from the scratch first. Now, it's not only this. F5 offering are really a much. Like in security, you have something named as that was silver line. When I would be going to talk about your deployment model, okay, I will touch this part, like what is silver line, how it come into the picture. Then there was a company named as NGINX. That was also acquisitions, by the F5 network. And this company was, just purchased into $670 million. And again, F5 is working on NGINX tech, products as well. So there are lot of portfolio, right? Again, I am touching the overview today, not in the depth, okay? Because throughout our classes, we need to talk about these technologies in really very, very deep way. Currently, I am just giving you the overview. If you have any doubts, you please stop me then and there. I would try to, clear those doubts, and then we will proceed further. Now, that was the introduction to your F5. Now, let's introduce to your F5 WAF or previous name ASM. WAF, as I told you, stands for Web Application Firewall. Again, I am mentioning layer 7. ASM, if you talk about, is Application Security Manager. Okay. So these two terms, maybe you can say interoperable to each other, because earlier the name was ASM. The new name is Advanced WAF. Okay. WAF is a generic name. Like WAF means a web application firewall. It can be any firewall, okay, which protect. See, this is your application. Okay, some application you are running, and before the application you have WAF. So when you have such a scenario, okay, then whatever vulnerabilities are coming through the malicious traffic, or maybe some hacker is there, you can say, okay, it can be maybe cross-site scripting, it can be SQL injection. Okay, don't worry, I would be gonna talk about these like vulnerabilities also later on. currently, as it is an introduction class, I need to take these names because otherwise I cannot proceed. Okay. So like cookies injection, maybe some kind of URL tampering or parameter tampering. Okay. And lot of attacks are there. When somebody try to give a shot for these attacks, okay, on your web application, if you don't have any WAF solution in between, it means your attacks to these apps are leading the cause of breaches. And these are the gateway to your valuable data, not only your data, but compromise of, lot of things on your company reputation, financial loss, so many things can be there. So when you are placing the WAF in the place, like right place, you can block the array of attacks, okay, which can result into the data compromising on your system. So if I am talking about WAF, it means when I'm saying about WAF, but obvious, it will be before your application, okay, and it's a layer 7, as I told you. So WAF will monitor all the data in front, okay, before that data is going to your application, and it will check either it is a malicious data or no. If it is a malicious data, for sure it will be get blocked. But if it is a legitimate data, okay, then it will be allowed to surf the application. Your traffic is safe. Now, WAF will just act as a proxy. Which proxy? Reverse proxy. Right? Anybody from you, please make this session interactive. When I am asking some question, try to participate. It's not your interview question or something like that. Whenever I am asking a question, it's only for the interaction. Okay. So what is a proxy?
Hello.
That is my question. Yeah, Bijan, go ahead.
Sir, actually, I want to know, application security manager means it will protect any application or any browser-based application.
Layer 7.
There are some
Layer
yes,
7.
means,
Layer 7 traffic only.
there are applications which are not using browsers to open it.
That's fine. It can be an API based.
Yes.
That's fine.
Okay.
Right. So we have API security as well. I would be going to talk about the same. Okay. What is a proxy? Anybody?
Yeah, proxy generally behalf of client it will process. See, if any client requests internet, behalf of client it will process.
Right, you are right. And there are two terms which come into the picture. One is the forward
proxy. Yeah.
One is the reverse proxy.
Yeah.
Just FYI, WAF falls down over here. Okay. Now, these are two terms, but proxy work is bit like same. Let me tell you how. If your clients, but obvious, all of your clients would be on the private range, right?
Yes.
Want you to go to surf internet. They need to go onto the public site, right? Public IP should be there. So there would be a proxy which will provide them a netting kind of thing. Okay, I am just giving you some of the scenario, hypothetical scenario. It may or may not be. Just I am trying to create some scenario. Okay, then some kind of URL filtering if need to do, and maybe a lot of things if need to do. There is a proxy. When your proxy is residing in between the clients and the internet resource, such proxy is named as forward proxy. On the other hand, there can be scenario that you have some server stacks, okay, and some clients are coming from the internet trying to access your servers, but you don't want to expose your servers. Again, your servers may be on private range, and before that you need to put up something a proxy again, which will, I'm just giving one way that it is doing public to private translation or DNet or whatever. Okay. But apart from that, security also come into the picture. You don't want to reveal your actual servers to the internet client. And when your proxy is residing in between internet resource to the servers, it means closest to the server, then it is named as reverse proxy. Now, if you talk about your WAF, okay, if you talk about your WAF, your clients are here, okay, they are just coming through anyway, maybe SD-WAN, maybe MPLS, maybe internet, maybe VPN, whatever, okay, and they are coming to your data center. After that, there might be different components which I am not touching for the time being. Okay, I would be going to talk about that. Let us say they are reaching to the WAF, and after WAF, but obviously there can be some switches and all of those things. I am not taking that into the consideration. There are app servers. So app servers are there. Now, this way your traffic is going from the WAF, and again, it will do the load balancing as well. So who would be the first point of contact? This WAF, where you will create a virtual IP. I hope you, all of you, are aware about this term virtual IP. And then there would be a pool, and but obvious LTM and ASM both system will be configured over here, and your security will be provided by doing the ASM kind of logic that I would be going to explain. So this is a reverse. I hope it makes sense. Any doubt, any questions, guys?
No.
No? Fine. Let me ask a question. Okay. Earlier there was IPS. There was some firewall, but obvious these are next generation firewall. Okay, which can go up to layer 7. Why we need a WAF? Is the question clear?
Yes, yeah, understood. But even I have that question. We have IPS, then why we need a WAF? Actually, that's the reason.
Okay,
I
it
don't
was
have
a
any idea.
question in your mind also.
Yeah.
Fine. Anybody who wanted to talk about it? No? Fine. See, if we talk about IPS, IDS, whatever, okay, typically it is based upon some kind of signature or policy, means it can check well-known vulnerabilities, okay, and attack vector based on its signatures. Whatever signatures you have in the database, it will establish the policies and will go for that. Very good for your layer 3 and layer 4, no doubt. Okay, bit like maybe for your DNS, for your SMTP, for your telnet, right, for your RDP, for your SSH, FTP, those protocol range, maybe I will say very good. But when it comes to the layer 7, it has very limited features. One thing. Second thing, for your next generation firewall, okay, IPs, next generation firewall. Again, here it can go up to layer 7, no doubt. Okay, a next generation firewall will enforce your user-based policies, add context to the security policy in addition to adding some of the features like URL filtering, antivirus, anti-malware, potentially maybe they have their own IPS as well. But again, it is also not up to the mark. So it can provide some of the features and can stop some of the attacks like injection attacks. Okay. Your cross-site scripting attacks, SQL injection attack, and lot of that. But your next generation firewall still relies on passive filter detection and does not examine each and every HTTP request thoroughly. Instead, it works much like your IPS, where sampling request and examining their first few bytes, not the full request payload. Getting my point? Now let's come to the web. In case of WAF, first let me tell you, it worked on layer 7. I'm repeating it multiple times, okay? And the reason is you should be aware about it. That is HTTP or HTTPS, whatever. Now here, first thing is OWASP top 10. I hope you guys have heard about these vulnerabilities list. If not, even then fine. We will be dedicated a session for the complete OWASP top 10, where I would be going to explain you. But if you want, I can just tell you some of the name like injection attacks, broken authentication, okay? Maybe XXE, maybe cross-site scripting, insecure deserialization in earlier days, okay? So there are well-known 10 attacks which used to publish every 3 or 4 years. Last time 2021, if I'm not wrong, was published. Okay, so these attacks are gonna take care by your web. Not only this, if you come to the load balancing, none of the firewall can provide you. Okay, if we talk about maybe entities-based protection, like your URL-based protection, your file type-based protection, your parameter tampering protection, okay, then data guard is there. Then there are a lot of attacks which your WAF can like mitigate, but your firewalls or your IPS system cannot. So dedicatedly WAF is for sure required in your project. Now, when we are talking about WAF, there are a lot of WAF deployment modes. Okay, I'm just giving you an generic introduction. It's not the part of our class for sure, but I'm just trying to tell you with respect to the broader view so that you should be aware about it. So you can configure your WAF based upon cloud-based. And here you can have fully managed service like your SaaS. Then you can have, let me write down first, then probably I will be going to explain. Cloud-based plus self-managed. You can have cloud-based plus auto provision. You can have on premises. It can be a virtual or a hard. Okay. So again, depending upon your requirements, you can have any one of them. Here, if I talk about, you have dedicatedly F5 offering, as I was mentioning about F5 Silverline. Sorry. Silverline. Here, self-managed, you can have F5 Advanced WAF in the cloud, where you can just go to the maybe marketplace and you can just search for the F5 and you can have these F5 Big IP Cloud Edition. Okay. If we talk about here, there is some F5 for maybe your, Azure Securities Center it is named as, or Silverline WAF Express it is named as. Okay. On premises, but obvious we have F5 Advanced. Okay. So that is how maybe you can go with any of the deployment model, howsoever your company is demanding, and you can just go with one of them. Now, I'm talking about HTTP from a that it works on HTTP, it's work on HTTP. What is the HTTP? Anybody?
It's unsecured protocol. Hello.
Yeah, I am listening to you.
Yeah, hypertext transfer protocol. It is unsecured.
Okay, so that is true. It is hypertext transfer protocol. Okay, so one very favorite question when I talk about HTTP before going ahead. Okay, but obviously it is a protocol underlying your web developed by your uh, uh, team Berners-Lee. Okay, back in 1989, right? But HTTP has gone through many changes. Can you tell me what is the first HTTP version?
Is it SSL1?
So the first version is not SSL. SSL is something different. It is named as HTTP 0.9. Okay. And it was one line protocol. See, when HTTP initial version came, there was no version number included. First thing. Okay. But later on, it was called at 0.9 to differentiate it from its newer versions. Okay. And this HTTP 09 was really extremely simple, It just consists of single line request, okay, bit like your get request, and a response is coming. That's it. Very simple. Later on, your second version came, which is named as HTTP 1.0. Okay. Here in 1.0, anybody who would like to talk about what 1.0 introduce? Okay. So 1.0, the very first thing which it's introduced is status code. Anybody, what is status code, please? No? Let me just open something like google.com. Okay. And when I am opening it into the software development tool, can you see this status code? These are the status codes. Okay. These status codes talk about something. What? It talk about like response is success or failure, or what was the behavior of response? Again, very important question with respect to your interview also. It can start from 100 to 199. I am just writing down 1xx. This stands for that you have some information. Okay, you received some information. Then it can be your 200 to 2xx, which stands for it is successful. Okay, again, there can be multiple things inside, which we will be going to talk about later on. But mainly you should be aware about. It can be from 300 to 3xx, which means there is some kind of redirection. Either it is permanent, temporary, whatever. Those are the separate stories. Okay, but it represents the redirection. If it is from 400 to 4xx, it means there is some client side error. Client either didn't put the correct URL or something like that. If it is from 500 to 5xx, it means it is server side error. And I hope you have seen 404 multiple times. Yes or no?
Yes.
So these are really very important, very basic, but very important. With respect to your interview questions also, these are important. With respect to your troubleshooting, it is important. Let us say you have migrated an application behind your WAF, and your application team is saying that my application was working earlier, but it's not working now. What could be the reason? And when you are checking the logs, in the logs, you can able to see maybe some kind of 4-access error. It means client is sending a request on some of the web page that does not exist, maybe. Getting my point? So by checking the status code, you can able to understand what is the status of your request, success, failure, any kind of other behavior. So that was introduced into your HTTP 1.4. Any question? Any doubt?
Yeah, Rati. That 400 response I understood. It is basically from client side issue. Okay. My doubt is like in which condition we will get 100 series response code. You said some information, right?
Only the
So
information.
hello.
Yeah. These are only the information.
Yeah, it means the issue with server side or client side. The 100
400 to 4-access is the client side.
Yeah, that I understood. Like 400 to 499, it is the client side issue. The client is trying, which is not available actually. Some URL is trying, it's not available in the destination side. That's the reason we are getting 400 to 4 that error, the serious error. Now, my question is like you mentioned, right? 100 to 199, it's information. So, in which condition we will get that error, that response code?
See, if there is some information to be get retrieved, maybe if you just check something more, yes, let us go with, if you receive some 10 code, it is very rare, but yeah, you can able to see some of the information. Okay. I have seen it very rare, very rare. But it again depend upon your like application to application. Either your application is sending some kind of information or not. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our application behavior first of all. And since we need to secure the application, that is the reason we are understanding the HTTP concept.
Okay.
Yep. Fine. Now, second thing, one thing is status code. Second thing, what it introduced is HTTP header. Very important thing, guys. Very important thing. What is HTTP header? Anybody? See, HTTP header can be in the request. It can be in the response. Okay. Request or response, both. So header is nothing. You can say it's a metadata that could be transmitted with your protocol so that your protocol is becoming extremely flexible and extensible. Okay. If you see any of the request, okay, maybe here if I am clicking, can you see there is URL, then after the URL there is status code, okay, and there is response header, right? There is request headers. There are a lot of headers. So these are your headers which used to provide you n number of information. Can you give me any example? So request header will be from the client, response header from the server, right? So HTTP header is a field of HTTP request or response that provide you additional context or the metadata about the request and response. So you can have some of the headers. I'm just giving you a couple of the examples. Maybe there can be n number again depending upon your application to application. So like you can have an host header. In the host, if you are going to an application, maybe abc.com, so abc.com would be your host. If you're going to an application named as facebook.com or fb.com, this is your host. Going to NetMinion, then NetMinion.net would be your host. So this is your host header, which explain about the who is my host. Similarly, you can have second, maybe I'm just giving an example of content type. Okay, content type, like it can be your text, it can be your HTML. Content type, it can be maybe your text or maybe GIF, maybe JPG, whatever. Okay, so these are your headers which are explaining about your request itself. Okay, so I talked about HTTP 0.9, HTTP 1.0. After that, which protocol came? Which version, sorry? That is HTTP 1.1. Okay, there was so many ambiguities in your HTTP 1.0, and it improved a number of improvements in your 1.0. Like here, one connection, the same connection may be reused. Okay, you need not to open multiple times of the connection to display the resource embedded in a single original document. You can reuse your connection. Something you can say pipeline is the word you can use. Pipeline was added. Okay, that your second request to be sent before the answer of your first request fully transmitted, and it reduce the latency. Okay, latency was reduced. Then your chunk data can also be accepted this time. That okay, if you are sending the chunk data, I can make it organized by my way. You can keep on sending. That's not an issue. Then cache is very important stuff which is introduced over here, right? Content negotiation. Content negotiation was added. Negotiation. Okay, was added, which means what kind of encoding you are wanted to do, what kind of type, like in content type I was explaining. Okay, now your server and your client could agree on different of the content to exchange. Okay, your host header is also added in your HTTP 1.1, which is really was in use a lot after it get published. Then next is HTTP 2. So Google started working on it to implement a protocol named as SD-WAN. Okay, back in 2010, I am talking about. So what happened is, as we are aware, now is the era of the digitalization. So much more data is transmitted over the significantly HTTP request. And this is creating a complexity and overhead. This was creating, I would say, a complexity and overhead on HTTP 1.1. To account this, Google implemented an experimental protocol named as SPD-WAN, okay, which served the foundation of HTTP2, right? So in HTTP2, you can have binary protocol. Not only the text. So earlier it was only text. Now it can be a binary protocol. It can be multiplexed. Multiplexed. Okay. Multiplexed protocol, which means parallel request can send by the client. Okay, he can or she can made over the same connection, removing the constraint of your HTTP 1.1 protocol. Then it can compress the headers. Okay, officially, if I'm not wrong, it was published in 2015. Okay, so in 2022, your 49.6% of application was utilizing this HTTP2. Okay, because high traffic websites show the really a good adaptation in effort to save the data and data transfer overhead. So it was widely adopted because it without the significant work for web developer, they could shift to the HTTP2, which was really awesome for them. Now we have one more new version. Okay, let's finish this HTTP thing. That is HTTP 3. And this work on something named as Quick. Again, Google Baba. Okay, so Quick use, instead of your TCP, see what happened is when you are using HTTP, beneath the HTTP, when you go to the layer 4, it is TCP. TCP on IP protocol, IP on MAC, and then MAC to your binary, right? Earlier, this was the story. But if you are moving to HTTP 3, there is Quick protocol you are using, okay? And instead of TCP, it is using Quick. Okay, so 2022, 26% of websites were utilizing HTTP 3. Quick is designed to provide much lower latency for your HTTP connections. Like your HTTP2 is multiplexed protocol, but was running on a TCP connection, right? This time, packet loss, if there is, again, TCP will rerun because it's a connection-oriented protocol. You should be aware about it. But Quick run beneath the line over the UDP. Okay, and implement packet loss detection, retransmission also. But again, it's really much faster. Fine, let's move. See, what is the application? If you see, like in Windows, you create a folder. Folder is bit like your application, like abc.com. Then in your abc.com, there is another folder, let us say home. Okay, in your home page, you wanted to show something, it is there. Then maybe about us, you can have another folder, bit like that, about us page. Then maybe your services is in another folder, and you are just representing it as another page like services. Bit like the same is your website, right? So that is an HTTP format. Now there some terms or one acronym come into the picture named as CRUD. CRUD means it is an acronym for create, that you can create such more page, right? Within the page, you can some resources you can create. Then read. Read means you are just reading this page. Like if you are going with HTTPS, okay, www.abc.com. What are you doing? You are reading something. So you are working with an operation named as read. Then you can update something, which means already a resource is there. Okay, let us say that resource was created in 2022. Now you have updated in 2024. You need to just write down that, okay, it's updated in 2024. So you are updating something, and you can, but obvious, delete something. So these are the 4 operations for any of the web application basic fundamental thing named as CRUD, which is again highly utilized terms, especially in your API things. So I hope you have heard about Postman or something like that, a tool for the APIs. Yes or no? If no, that's fine. So like there are some methods. Like if you are reading something, means you are utilizing get method in HTTP. So using the get method, you are reading something. Like update or create, maybe put or what was that?
Push.
Update, put or push method.
Push.
Okay, and there was update, post. Yeah, post method, right? Here also you can use post method. Here is the delete method. So these are the methods. There are multiple methods which are available. Now, how does it matters in the ASM class? Try to understand. There is a WAF before your application server, okay? And somebody can come over this application server with a delete method and deleting something, okay? Because there is no application security on the application layer. even on the WAF, you didn't stop. It is deleting something. It's wrong. Then on the WAF, even you have the, like option to select that, okay, you can have the get, okay, only for the read. So I am not allowing anything else. You can just go for the read purpose only. So if somebody is coming with delete, okay, that won't be go to your application resource at all.
Radhe, one more doubt. Like I'm accessing Facebook, so how to access a delete method? Is there any anything?
There are different tools. You cannot go with like that.
Mhm.
Like I was giving you the name of the postman, right?
Mhm.
So let me open a postman if you wanted to see, and if you wanted to go for the same. Okay. Give me a minute. Let me just show you. These are the things like which come into the picture when you are going for maybe your automation things. So can you see here get? So if I'm sending this, I, I am just wanted to show you something else. Okay. I am searching for that your HTTP version, if I can see here. Okay, no, that's fine. So it is giving me some result. It is showing the status code that the request is okay. Fine.
Mhm.
I can go with post method, put method, patch method, delete method. Okay, if I wanted to go with maybe there is a resource name as ABC there is a folder named as ABC. There is a text file maybe with the name of abc.txt, and I want to delete that. Okay, it's not a correct by the way thing. So you can see it's a 405. So method is not allowed, right?
Mhm.
But you can do some kind of operations like the same. There are multiple tools, but obviously multiple methods are also you can see.
Mhm.
But again, it's an application thing. Fine. Vijay, Java,
Yes.
any doubt to anybody?
No.
No? Fine. So when you are configuring your WAFs, why I was putting so much focus over there. When you have WAF and you are configuring your WAF, you need to configure what are allowed HTTP methods, right? You need to talk about what are allowed HTTP response. Okay, response codes. What are response codes which you are allowing? You need to talk about what are the file types which are allowed. You need to talk about maybe what are the login page. If you are not aware about login page, don't worry. We will be going to explain about later on in our classes. You need to configure headers. You need to configure cookies. Okay. Everything with respect to the HTTP we are doing on the web. That is the reason like we should be having a solid foundation about our HTTP thing, not in so much deep, but as an overview, we should be aware of what the HTTP thing is, what are these method, response code, status code, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
if we can allow or block HTTP response code, it means we can filter traffic from server side to client side of return traffic.
Yes. WAF is reverse proxy. It not only filter your request, it also filter your response, which your firewall cannot. Again, a very good point. Okay. So it can just intervene with your request and with your response both way. So let us say if 302 response code is not allowed, it will be get dropped on the WAF. I'm just giving an hypothetical example.
Okay.
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 Then see, now cloud computing is one thing. Computing is on the boom. Either it is any GCP. Okay. So it can be, sorry, it can be any cloud service provider, right? It can be your Google, Azure, Amazon, or whatever, right? But it's on the boom. So cloud computing is the, maybe you can say, service for your IT infrastructure is readily available over the cloud with a great resource, and they are offering a lot of things. Now, three terms you might have heard. One is IaaS. One is PaaS. One is SaaS. Yes or no? Have you heard about these terms? Okay,
Yes.
if no, even then fine. See, what happened is, in your IaaS, in your PaaS, and in your SaaS, these are your service models. Okay. Here, cloud will give you the infrastructure. Rest of the things, customer will build the operating system, maybe rest of the things. Okay. You are building. But in case of your PaaS, you are building couple of the things on the top of that, middleware, operating system, and all those things also getting provided by your cloud. So this is providing by your CSP, cloud service provider. Here, this is the thing, CSP. Here, everything is provided by the CSP. You only ready to utilize this. I'm just giving some examples so that you people can able to understand. Here, you just wanted to have an server, and this server you want with a really very good compute power. Okay. So maybe you are just saying such and such CPU I want, such and such hard disk I want, such and such memory I want. Okay. And you just have this. On the top of that, you are putting the operating system, you are putting your customized application and everything, right? So that is the perfect example of IaaS. But if you just wanted to have your server ready with operating system, you just need to put your application on the top of that. You can go for your PaaS, platform as a service. It is infrastructure as a service. It is a platform as a service where platform is already ready. You just going there and putting your application on the top of the underneath, infrastructure. Then SaaS is really cloud is doing everything. Bit like you are using G Drive, okay, in your storage, OneDrive, G Drive, or maybe anything, or maybe Gmail in case of your mailing service, Hotmail, or any email. What are those? Those applications, even applications are built upon your cloud, right? By cloud server service provider. You are just utilizing it as is. You are not doing anything. So it's good for developers. Okay, good for developers. It's good for your end users. Okay, because you are just utilizing that. And IaaS, like if you wanted to go for your infrastructure, maybe like if you on premises, from on premises, you wanted to go over the cloud, it's good for those people. Okay, so infrastructure as a service, I am repeating it again, platform as a service, and software as a service, right? These are the three terms. Again, IoT, machine learning, each and everything is moving to the cloud. Why I am coming to the cloud? Because we have some offerings from F5 which is running on the cloud. These offerings are named as F5 distributed cloud. Okay, services. So this is the old name. F5 DCS was the old name. FIDCS was the old name. The new name is named as Cloud XC, Cloud Services. Okay, XC. So you can just see those terminologies nowadays over the internet so much. Okay, so here your inbound traffic, okay, any maybe users I am just creating, inbound traffic will utilize distributed cloud service or cloud service, okay, where you are using board defense, you are using DDoS protection, you are using WAF services, and you are utilizing API security. So these things are coming for your Balamurugan, I hope you joined from the phone as well. Is it you only?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So these are the services provided by your DCS. Okay. And generally, you can able to see these terms like F5, distributed cloud services, or WAAP, that is Web Application and API Protection Solution, right? So what is this? This is your F5 SaaS solution. As I was mentioning you, IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. So this is your F5 distributed cloud services are your SaaS-based security networking application management service that you enable customer to deploy your secure your maybe application in the cloud native environment. Whenever needed, you can just go with that. So many organizations are seriously earlier was challenging for deploying their application across the distributed location. Why distributed location? Because I don't know if you are aware about cloud or no. So in the cloud, you can have one application instance, you can distribute it among the different data centers, or maybe availability zones, or those are the actually terms. So you can just distribute your application over there, and that is the reason your application is distributed across the different location. Cloud providers and environments have some kind of operational complexity, introduce their security concerns and the compliance requirement. So that is why your XC solution come. Okay, XC is the new name, as I told you. So this solution came, which is for addressing or overcoming these challenges. It is a SaaS delivered managed service that detect and mitigate your WAF thing, DDoS, bot defense, and API security, all of those things. If I will go over here, there is something maybe I can show you people. If you just go to the demo, there you go. Okay, so maybe let me just move to the main page. So if you see, you have a simulator, right? So you can go online, as I am showing you, on any of the browser, and you can simulate your scenario. So there are a lot of distributed services which you can see here, like for the DNS load balancer, customer agent, regional edge, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's go to the WAP. So WAAP. So if you see here, web app and API protection, okay, you can click on open. And again, it will give you a couple of the tasks that, okay, let's add the WAF. I was talking about these 4 terminologies, remember? That you can have WAF, API security, bot defense, and DDoS. So it will keep on asking you, create a new item, then just do whatever it is saying you. It is showing you some of the attack which happened. User is coming with like this. It will show you a lot of things like, okay, let's create a new application firewall. Okay, it is just saying, give us some name, like I am just giving the name as test. Okay, let it be by default. And you can just keep on proceeding. And that is how you can simulate your whole scenario. Fine. Any doubts so far?
Sir, WAF has DDoS protection. Can
WAF
it protect
has
layer 3?
WAF has a DDoS protection. Now,
Can
let
it
me
protect a layer 3 DOS attack?
let me that is what I'm. So let me now give you one overview. See, when it come to your data center, there should be some high-end router, usually from the Cisco, Juniper, or whatever. Before even there also, there is DDoS protection for your layer 2, layer 3 bit like that, lower layer. Okay. Then there should be some ACLs applied over here. Then after that, again, some layer 2 stuff would be there. I am not considering about those. Then your firewall will come into the picture. Then after the firewall, WAF will come into the picture. Then after the WAF, there are your app servers, which would be coming into the picture. Now, for parameter thing, there is a firewall. Okay. For layer 2, layer 3, those kind of attacks, that should not enter into your data center for sure. Okay. So
Okay.
everything should be stopped before entering to your data center. But let us say if there is a layer 7 DDoS happening, which your lower layers applications or devices are not able to find it out. Maybe there is an you have Imperva solution, okay, or maybe Arbor solution or anything. They are not able to find it out. Then you can configure that setting on the web. Is it clear?
Basically, it protects layer 7 DOS attacks.
Layer 7, yes.
Okay.
That is the reason I was, talking again and again that it's a layer 7 thing. So this diagram is really important, guys. If somebody will ask like where the WAF will resides, here the WAF will reside before the application servers, after the firewall. Okay. Generally, it can be any firewall, maybe your Palo Alto, maybe your FTD, maybe your checkpoint, okay, or any Fortinet, sorry, any. Okay. So if I will ask again, what is the need for F5, big IP F5 WAF? Can anybody tell me?
The need for WAF is like to protect the application, right?
Right. So it's saving or mitigating the different vulnerabilities. And see, if I will talk about F5 need, let me just write down F5 need. Okay. So according to your F5 Lab 2023, there is a lot of CVE which is, developing into the market. What is CVE? Anybody?
So vulnerability, right?
Right. So CVE is common vulnerability exposure. Method for publishing your information on the cybersecurity vulnerabilities and the exposures. Okay. So really, every new day is a new CV that is getting introduced. So let us say there is a software which is running. Okay. There is a application which is having a software, and there is a vulnerabilities which is exposed or discovered. Now, what attacker will do? Attacker will try to scan for those vulnerability for different servers over the internet. So let us say there is an attacker. Okay, this is a bad guy. This bad guy will scan. Okay, try to find out like who is having that vulnerability still, yet they have this vulnerability. And if they find out some of the application, maybe just I am giving fd.com. Okay. So let us say they just find out this vulnerability is still open there. Then they will try to find out the PII. Okay, or maybe they can change the resource also. What is PII? Personally identifiable information, bit like a credit card, phone number, date of birth, bit like that. Okay, client database. So attacker can locate those additional servers and login credentials also they can, have. And believe me, if the people don't have the proper logging system and they don't have the proper monitoring system, attacker will keep on hidden in some of the very, very big attack. They are just data extraction is keep on going sometimes more than 76 days. That is a value or estimated time came into the picture. Okay, because people does not bother to monitor their system. So such thing also happens in the lack of maybe proper knowledge, in the lack of maybe proper monitoring or resources, whatever. So your data can be extracted and your attacks can be happen. And it does not depend upon a 0-day attack, I will say. What is 0-day attack, by the way?
It's a new attack, right? It's a latest attack
Right.
signature.
So maybe you can say such attacks which are not like we are in the market, there are no patching available for the same, right? So whenever such 0-day attacks happen, your F5, if I will talk about all of the vendors, okay, not only F5, will keep on sending the emails to their customer that, okay, you need to patch your system or you need to upgrade your system to, do like mitigation from these vulnerabilities. If you remember in 2021, there was a CV release for Apache Log4j. Remember? Apache Log4j. So during those days, I am aware that our whole team was working day and night. They were just upgrading their systems bit like to mitigate such kind of vulnerabilities. So that is how your WAF, which is in between the picture, can save the organization from such kind of thefts or such kind of vulnerabilities. Guys, have you heard the term bots? Even the bots are of two types. We can say these are good bots and these can be bad bots. So bots are nothing. These are designed to do simple or repetitive tasks over the internet that human don't want to do or maybe cannot do as quickly as they can do. So in 1990s, this bot was introduced and the first bot was crawler. Very important if you have heard about it. If not, that's fine. In SEO. Okay. So this is very important term, crawler. So it's, you can say, used to improve the search engine results. Okay. So then there are some chat bots. Chat bots are there, right? So like your Facebook Messenger, iOS Messenger, maybe your Alexa, Siri. Okay. What are those? Those are the chat bots. No. You can have your shop bots, which maybe you, shop bots, which again go to different website and maybe give you the lowest price for something, maybe air ticketing, maybe if you are buying some kind of shopping you are doing, bit like that. Okay. There can be monitoring bots, which are keep on monitoring the health of your resource or some kind of website. So there are a lot of bots, I will say. Okay. And now if I tell you your security So security and risk teams need to protect from the abuse of your application from very critical business logic, right? So if you are having something like financial transactions, you are going to some kind of maybe SDFC bank or somewhere, okay? And you have some kind of logic which your modern application is using with respect to the some APIs, maybe third party integration or something. So there you can have bad bots also. So this is a dark side. Maybe you can say this is a dark side of the bot. Okay. So a malicious bot is a computer that has been infected by a malware, you can say, which allow an attacker to control the computer. So malicious bots are used as a part of maybe some automated network, which can consist of 1,000, 10,000 of maybe infected bots, and they can significantly increase the traffic on your website. Let us say, okay, bit like your DDoS attack. Okay, what is DDoS? That you are just bombarding with such a request on your server that it cannot be able to give the response, right? So that is your DDoS attack, distributed denial of services, right? You can have credential stuffing, like taking the advantage of billion of stolen account credentials and keep those into the bots so that bot can sniff that stolen username and password combination and put it on your web pages so that they can take the access of your website. Okay. So WAF is really a very critical stop gate, I will say, against such kind of vulnerabilities, such kind of malicious automation attacks, and it can integrate it with some specialized bot defense also, okay, to provide you a robust security. So if I will create, there is a WAF. It is my happy app. And there are some bad guys, maybe some attacker, maybe some malicious bots. Okay. And this is a good customer. This is, let us say, friendly bot. Okay. So when these requests are going over the web, these can access the app. But when these guys are trying to come, since WAF is a web application firewall, they can able to understand what are these coming for. They can block that traffic. Any doubt? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fine. So it was an introduction class. I hope let us wrap it up over here. We will be keep on, discussing further. Meanwhile, you can go to our websites, go to the courses. Under the courses, there are plenty of courses where you can see as per your need or requirement. But go to the web, and here you can just go to each and every detail, whatever you wanted to see with respect to the web application firewall. Secondly, if we talk about our lab topology, this would be our lab topology where we will be running up with different attacks. We will keep on like put over on our application, and we will see how our WAF solution will work on. Let me tell you, when we are talking about WAF is not a magical box. You need to do something over there, right? So there is something named as application security, right? So that application security we will be going to configure on our WAF. So how the traffic will move? Traffic logically will come from my like customer to the WAF. From the WAF, it should go to the application. Okay, there are two applications you can see. These applications are the vulnerable applications where we can put a lot of attacks. And throughout our course, we will be doing these things hand in hand, like theory and practical both. our main aim is you should be aware about how to put these things into your production environment. Also, if you are going for cracking some interview to get the good job, you should have a fair knowledge. Then if you are going for the certification, for this, the certification number is 303. This knowledge will definitely useful for you. Okay. So eventually all of you should do these practicals with me so that you can take 100% from this training. Okay. So these classes would be on the weekends, 2 hours. Okay.